Okay, the title of this study implies a comparison between two works by Thomas More from a similar time, although they are very different in genre and in nature. Indeed, in terms of the Utopia, we must bear in mind that it can be understood as a response to the morias encomium of Erasmus, who would encourage More to stoke his imagination and engage with new ideas, questioning the abuses of the society of his time, a key aspect in reading the work. In 1516, More would send the manuscript of the first book of Erasmus, and the work would appear in its definite version in 1582 in Basel, alongside More's Epigrammata, to be published in their complete version in 1520. Whereas the date of a few of the epigrams can be known with any certainty, information gleaned from Erasmus' correspondence makes it clear that these poems were in fact composed between 1500 and 1519. A common characteristic of the two works is the aim not only to be entertaining, but to say something interesting, and to speak the truth with grace, that is, in the words of Logan et al. 2006, to take a literary form that allows for serio ludere, to play seriously, a most apt recourse for irony in and of itself in the epigrams, and as a means of critique in the Utopia. Nevertheless, there remains, more or less, a notable difficulty in identifying the authentic thinking of More in such a controversial work as Utopia. It cannot simply be assumed that his Hythlodaeus speak for More. It is especially difficult to separate the opinions of More and Hythlodaeus in Part 1. Yet the opposite case, that the thinking of More and Hythlodaeus never coincide, is not necessarily true either. The author plays a great deal with ambiguity. As Bruce in 1991 observes, what More admires about Utopia will in fact be forbidden by the end of the book, and I quote Bruce, "Utopia preserves even to its last lines an ambivalence which it never resolves." End of the quote. Other uses of the concept in the Epigrammata complete the author's judgment on the figure of the tyrant, either through comparison to the good king, as we have seen, or to a simpler commoner, text 10. That the tyrant while he sleeps is no different from the commoner. "Well then, you madman, it is pride with nature you carry your head so high, because the wrong bows to you on bending knee, because the people rise and uncover for you, because you have in your power the life and death of many. But whenever sleep secures your body in activity, then tell me, what is the glory of yours? Then you lie, useless creatures, like lifeless log or like a present corpse. But if you were not lying protected like a coward and sing indoors, your own life would be at the disposal of any man." The contrast is clear between the qualities attributed to different modes of governance, seen also through the expressive nouns or adjectives assigned to both governments in the text thus far, as you can see in Table 1. Now, in Utopia, the very election of the princeps is democratic and conducted by the representatives of the people, text 11. Once a year, every group of 30 households elects an official called suffragant in their own language, but we know as the phylarch. Over every group of 10 suffragants with their household, there is another official, once called the tranibor, but now known as the head phylarch. All the suffragants, 200 in number, elect the governor. They take an oath to choose the man they think best qualified, and then, by secret ballot, they elect the governor from among 4 men commended to the Senate by the people of the 4 sections of the city. In effect, it seems that More is in favor of sovereignty in this sense residing in the people, even though he finds himself hopelessly immersed in an eminently monarchical system, thus in a sense advancing what are the dominant ideas of his time. This is also reflected in epigrams of texts 12 and 13, the second of which includes a statement that is indeed very similar to the first part of the full title chosen by the author for the Utopia. So compare the title of text 13 with the title of the first part of the title of the Utopia, as we have seen in the slide first, the previous paper. De optimo statu rei publicae deque nova insula Utopia libellus vere aureus. These similarities extend to the content of the epigrams. So let's see text 12. Any one man who has a command of many men owes his authority to those whom he commands. He ought to have command not one instant longer than his subjects wish. Why are impotent kings so proud? Because they rule merely on sufferance? And now text 13. What is the best form of government? You ask which governs better, a king or a senate? Neither. Is, as is frequently the case, both are bad. But if both are good, they may think that the senate, because of its members, is the better, and that the greater good lies in numerous good men. Perhaps it is difficult to find a group of good men. Even more frequently, it's easy for a monarch to be bad. A senate would occupy the position between good and bad, but hardly ever you have a king who is either good or bad. An evil senator is influenced by advice from better men than he, but a king is himself the ruler of his advisers. A senator is elected by the people to rule. A king attains this end by being born. In the one case, blind chance is supreme. In the other, a reasonable agreement. The one feels that the was made senator by the people, the other feels that the people were created for him so that, of course, he may have subjects to rule. A king in his first years is always very mild indeed, and so every year the council will be like a new king. Over a long time, a greedy king will know a way and his people. It is a mistake to believe that a greedy king can be satisfied. Such a dish never leaves fresh until it is drained. These texts leads to another set of concepts related to the virtues which are to be associated with good governance and in general a life of rectitude, given that clearly the system, while being important, is not absolutely crucial. Its success depends rather on the way in which he holds power, exercises it. Text 14. On the good kings and his people. A kingdom in all its parts is like a man. It is held together by natural affection. The king is the head, the people form the other parts. Every citizen the king has, he considers a part of his own body. That is why he grieves at the loss of a single one. The people risk themselves to save the king, and everyone thinks of him as the head of his own body. And now, in a similar sense, text 15, the king is protected not by the corps of guards, but by his own good qualities. Not fear accompanied by hatred, not towering places, not well-run from plundered people protects a king. The stern-boy guard, high for a pittance, offers no protection, for the guard will serve a new master as he served the old. He will be saved who so rules his people that they judge none other would promote their interests better. One of the vices most often attacked by more is in fact that of avarice, as one of the realities frequently bound up with tyranny. Let us look now what More's thoughts on the dangers of avarice in power, which according to him is a very widespread vice. Text 16, on lust for power. Among many kings there will be scarcely one, if there is really one, who is satisfied to have one kingdom. And yet among many kings there will be scarcely one, if there is really one, who rules a single kingdom well. The word play of the epigram makes for an especially expressive meaning here. On the outcome of avaricious in government, epigram 142 speaks for itself, in this case inspired by the Greek source, text 17. On an iron statue, from the Greek. To you, the king who ravaged the world, they set up an iron statue of iron, as far as cheaper than bronze. This economy was the result of starvation, slaughter, wrath, and cruel poverty. These are the instruments by which your greed has ravaged all. This avarice appears as a characteristic of mercenaries, a group antagonistic to the citizens of Utopia, who have no regard for loyalty but only for the money they receive in recompense for fighting on one side or another. Text 18. They have quickly picked up the habit of avarice, but not of the profit. For what they earn by bloodletting they immediately squander on debauchery of the most squalid sort. Contrasting this group of mercenaries to the true citizens of the island, More fully describes the latter's proper behavior when he observes that they know how to find the mean point between a reckless disregard for life and a greedy attachment to it when duty discourages it. This. Text 19. Also they have been trained from infancy in some principles of conduct which their education and the good institution of their society both reinforce, and that too adds their courage. They don't hold life so cheap that they throw it away recklessly, nor so dear that they grasp it greedily at the price of shame when duty bids them give up. Also, avarice is branded as the vice which corrupts the very core of the society, that is justice. Text 20. These two evils, greed and faction, soon destroy all justice, which is the strongest bond of any society. The citizens of the island know how to set in its rightful place the value which others attach to material wealth. Text 21. Even more than this, they are appalled at those people who practically worship a rich man, though they neither owe him anything nor are under his thumb in any way. What impresses them is simply the fact that the man is rich. Yet all the while they know he is so mean and is grasping that as long as he lives, not a single penny out of that great amount of money will ever come their way. More has previously resorted to satire to describe certain customs of the Utopians. They drink from utensils made of modest materials, receiving gold and silver from servants and children. These latter mock foreign ambassadors when they appear dressed in noble fabrics, since in this way they are considered infantile. A somewhat similar satirical tone is observed in the epigrams in text 22 to 24, where the critical intent seems to be on the increase. So, text 22 on the dying miser. Alas, his chrysalid is dying. He mourns, he groans, nor ever died more reluctantly. He is mourning not because he is parting with his life, there is nothing he holds cheaper than himself, but because he is parting with 4 coins for a grave. On text 22, on a hunting dog. One duck, watching the dog's mouth when he opened it to catch another. He missed it, and the one he had already caught escaped from his mouth. In this way, miser, while you wretchedly strive to ensnare the property of another, you, more often than not, lose your own, and it serves you right. And finally, text 24. The miser is a dog in the manger. The dog in the manger does not himself eat the hay, nor does he let the horse who wants hay take any. The miser guards his wealth, does not eat himself, and those who want to put it some use he keeps at a distance. To conclude, the intertextual analysis of the two words compared here reveals that they are constants in both lexis and meaning, which demonstrate a unity in the thinking of the author, at least with respect to certain ethical political realities. 1. Critique of tyranny in itself, and when it is linked to injustice as a vice destructive to the power functioning of a society, and the greed for the power in wealth. And 2. Sovereignty resides in the people, although the representative form of the government is no guarantee of success per se, but by virtue of the ethical conduct of its members. In Utopia, Moore may use ambiguity or contradiction with some themes as the vehicle of irony and criticism, but in other areas, as in those analyzed here, his position seems beyond doubt. The comparison with what is expressed in his epigrams reinforced the interpretation presented here. Thank you very much.